When a hip-hop mogul worth hundreds of millions and a megachurch bishop who preaches to 30,000 people every Sunday end up named in the same federal lawsuit, you know the story goes deeper than anyone imagined. What started as whispers about inappropriate parties has exploded into allegations of blackmail, hidden cameras, decades-old abuse claims, and a web of power that connected some of the most influential figures in entertainment and religion. What you're about to discover might change how you see celebrity power forever. The evidence keeps stacking up, the witnesses keep coming forward, and at the center of it all is a question nobody saw coming. What was Bishop T.D. Jakes really doing at Diddy's parties? 50 Cent has never been shy about his feelings toward Diddy, but most people assumed it was just typical hip-hop beef. Competitive energy, social media jabs, maybe some old industry grudges. Turns out, 50 was playing a much longer game. While everyone thought he was just trolling on Instagram, he was systematically dismantling Diddy's entire future. He revealed he's made 3 calculated moves to ensure Diddy never walks free or regains power.
Yes, and I have given all the proofs of who is involved with Diddy. I have presented the videotape of Diddy's parties as evidence. Now no one can save Diddy and the other celebs. Jay-Z, after watching the rest of the documentary, you'll understand everything.
I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
He personally reached out to legal teams representing Diddy's alleged victims and provided funding for 7 people who had stayed silent for years.
You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him.
He didn't just write checks. He brought in top criminal attorneys, the kind with track records of taking down powerful abusers. Second, and this is where it gets ruthless, 50 started buying up Diddy's potential post-release business deals 2 years before Diddy was even sentenced. By the time Diddy got locked up and still had hope of rebuilding his empire, every major partnership had already been quietly severed. No comeback tours, no brand deals, no media ventures. 50 made sure the doors were shut before Diddy even realized he'd need them. Third, 50 claims he's sitting on evidence that goes back 30 years, complete with victim testimonies from over a dozen people Diddy allegedly tricked, threatened, or violated. This isn't just gossip or hearsay. This is an organized archive that could keep Diddy locked up far beyond his initial sentence. When asked if it seemed harsh, 50 didn't hesitate. Diddy destroyed lives for decades. So a few extra years in prison is mercy compared to what his victims endured. The message was clear: Diddy isn't coming back. But 50 Cent wasn't the only person watching Diddy's empire crumble. Someone else had been pulled into this scandal, someone nobody expected. Bishop T.D. Jakes is not some small-time preacher. He's the founder and senior pastor of the Potter's House, a megachurch in Dallas with over 30,000 members. He's written best-selling books, produced films, advised presidents and celebrities, and built a personal fortune estimated between $20 and $30 million. For decades, he's been seen as a moral authority, a spiritual giant in the Christian community. His influence extends far beyond the pulpit. He's been a counselor to entertainers, athletes, and politicians. He's appeared on Oprah, hosted conferences attended by tens of thousands, and was considered untouchable in terms of reputation. That image started cracking when his name appeared in a federal lawsuit against Diddy, and then the cracks became chasms. Sources say Jakes has been under immense stress, at one point nearly collapsing on stage during a sermon. Those close to him claim he's terrified of being dragged deeper into the legal nightmare surrounding Diddy. His congregation, the people who've trusted him for years, are now questioning everything. And the most troubling part? He's remained almost completely silent about the allegations. That silence is starting to look like something more than caution. It's starting to look like fear. So how did a man of God end up entangled with a hip-hop mogul accused of sex trafficking, abuse, and maintaining a network of hidden surveillance to blackmail celebrities? According to Lil Rod's federal lawsuit, Diddy didn't just throw parties. He strategically cultivated relationships with powerful, respected figures to rehabilitate his public image. And T.D. Jakes was allegedly one of those figures. The lawsuit specifically names Jakes and claims Diddy used the bishop's religious influence to soften the blow from Cassie Ventura's explosive lawsuit. In November 2023, Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, filed a lawsuit alleging years of physical abuse, emotional manipulation, and sex trafficking. The allegations were so damning that Diddy settled within 24 hours. But the damage was done, his reputation was in free fall, sponsors were fleeing, and federal investigators started taking a very close look at his activities. That's allegedly where T.D. Jakes came in. Reports suggest Diddy made substantial donations to the Potter's house, and in return, Jakes provided him access to new social circles and a veneer of religious credibility. It's the oldest playbook in the world. If you're accused of being a monster, align yourself with someone seen as holy. In March 2024, federal agents raided Diddy's mansions in Los Angeles and Miami. They found guns, drugs, electronics, and something even more disturbing: evidence of extensive surveillance systems. Safes were opened, drawers emptied, documents scattered everywhere. Diddy's associate Brendan Paul was arrested at the Miami airport and charged with drug possession. The feds weren't messing around. This wasn't a civil matter anymore. This was a federal sex trafficking investigation. And T.D. Jakes' name kept appearing in documents, kept getting mentioned by witnesses, kept surfacing in ways that made it impossible to ignore. The business arrangement between Diddy and Jakes might have seemed transactional at first, but witnesses started saying they'd seen something far more troubling. Multiple people have come forward claiming they saw T.D. Jakes at Diddy's parties. Not charity events, not church functions, Diddy's infamous all-white parties in the Hamptons, the kind of gatherings that have become legendary for excess, secrecy, and behavior that would make a televangelist congregation faint. One witness, known as Gandalf, confirmed Jakes' attendance and asked the question everyone's thinking: why would a prominent religious leader be so closely linked to someone like Diddy? Another former associate who attended these parties explained the evolution of Diddy's events. Early on, inappropriate behavior happened in secret, behind closed doors in separate rooms. People knew what was going on, but it wasn't in the open. Over time, though, things changed. Inhibitions disappeared. According to this witness, men were openly kissing men, drugs were everywhere, and the whole atmosphere became something no religious leader should be anywhere near. The associate also detailed Diddy's drug use timeline. Initially, Diddy was almost clean. No weed, no cigarettes, no cocaine. He'd have substances available for guests, but he wasn't indulging. That changed when he got hooked on painkillers. After that, his behavior spiraled. He started drinking hard liquor instead of just champagne, and the parties got darker. During federal raids, investigators reportedly found over 250 hidden cameras throughout Diddy's properties. Not security cameras, hidden recording devices in private rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms, little micro cameras and bugs that guests would never notice, especially if they were under the influence. The implication is chilling. Diddy allegedly recorded everything. Every compromising moment, every drug-fueled mistake, every private encounter. And if the allegations are true, he used that footage as leverage. Witnesses claim this is why so few celebrities have defended Diddy despite his massive network. They're not staying quiet out of loyalty. They're terrified of what might be on those tapes. T.D. Jakes is reportedly among those deeply concerned about what federal agents now have in their possession. But the allegations against Jakes don't start with Diddy, they go back much further. On November 25th, Bishop T.D. Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit against Pastor Dwayne Youngblood, who had publicly accused him of misconduct that allegedly occurred when Youngblood was just 18 years old. Youngblood didn't just make vague allegations, he went into specific, disturbing detail. He described being invited to meet with Jakes, a man he admired and saw as a mentor. They sat at a long dining room table for 2 hours. Youngblood said it was an emotional conversation, one where he finally felt understood. Jakes talked about Youngblood's father, about struggles both men had faced. For the first time, Youngblood felt like someone truly got him. He was crying, vulnerable, opening up in ways he never had before. When it was time to leave, Youngblood said he stood up to go, and Jakes walked him toward the exit. That's when, according to Youngblood, Jakes pulled him close, wrapped his arms around him, and tried to kiss him. Youngblood says he felt like he died in that moment. He couldn't remember how he got out of the house or how he drove home. He was in shock, confused, devastated. The next morning, his mother answered the phone. It was Elder Jakes. Youngblood picked up, and he could hear water running. Jakes was sitting in a bathtub. Then Youngblood claims Jakes laid out 3 demands without hesitation. First, when Jakes came to Pittsburgh, Youngblood would be the only person he slept with. Second, Youngblood couldn't sleep with anyone else because Jakes didn't want to give his wife anything. Third, Jakes would take care of Youngblood for the rest of his life. Youngblood says he doesn't remember how he got off the phone, but he decided not to go to church that night. His mother insisted, if the family goes, he goes. So he went. And in what Youngblood describes as the most humiliating moment of his life, Bishop Jakes stood at the pulpit and asked Youngblood to read scripture in front of the entire congregation. After everything that had happened in the previous 24 hours, Youngblood had to stand there and perform. Youngblood claims he has witnesses and phone records to support his account. Jakes filed a defamation lawsuit in response, denying everything. But the story didn't end there. Comedian Cat Williams mentioned Jakes in connection to the broader Diddy scandal. And suddenly, these decades-old allegations were being re-examined in a new context. Legal experts started noticing a pattern. Attorney Tony Busby has 30 years of experience and over 100 trials under his belt. He's represented victims in high-profile cases involving Harvey Weinstein and others. When he started reviewing allegations against Diddy, he interviewed over 120 potential clients. He rejected more than 60 because their stories didn't make sense, didn't fit the pattern, or weren't credible. But the ones he took on, they were disturbingly consistent. None of the victims knew each other, yet their accounts were identical, beginning, middle, and end. That's the hallmark of a serial abuser. They follow a pattern. Busby emphasized that sexual abuse isn't about desire, it's about power. It's about humiliation, dominance, taking control. Youngblood's allegations against Jakes fit that exact pattern. The emotional manipulation, the vulnerability exploited, the alleged statement that Youngblood was owned. It mirrors the tactics Diddy allegedly used on his victims. One of Diddy's alleged victims was bisexual and worked for him. Diddy owed him money. When the man came to collect, Diddy allegedly lured him to the Intercontinental Hotel, drugged him, and assaulted him. The victim told Busby that Diddy tried to turn him into his B word. It was a power move, pure dominance. Another victim thought he was going to a white party in the Hamptons, a glamorous celebrity event. He had no idea what he was walking into. Busby's point is clear. These aren't regret-fueled accusations from people who partied willingly and now see a payday. These are credible accounts from people who were manipulated, drugged, and violated by someone who wielded enormous power over them. And the pattern doesn't stop with Diddy. It extends to everyone in his orbit, including those who may have enabled or participated in the behavior. Lil Rod's affidavit dropped a bombshell. Diddy had every room in his homes taped and bugged. When federal agents raided his properties, they reportedly found hundreds of micro cameras, hidden recording devices, and surveillance equipment that guests would never notice. We're talking about 250 cameras spread throughout the house, bedrooms, bathrooms, private spaces where people thought they had privacy. The alleged strategy was brutal in its simplicity. Invite high-profile guests to extravagant parties, provide drugs and alcohol, create an environment where inhibitions disappear, and record everything. Then, when someone steps out of line or becomes a liability, you've got leverage. According to sources, this is how Diddy maintained control over people for decades. Celebrities, politicians, pastors, anyone with a reputation to protect became a potential target. Reports suggest that footage obtained during the federal raids includes a pastor, and some sources speculate it could be T.D. Jakes. Authorities haven't confirmed the identity, but the speculation alone has sent shockwaves through both entertainment and religious communities. Jakes' legal team is reportedly deeply concerned about what might be released. If footage exists showing him at these parties, in compromising situations, it wouldn't just damage his reputation. It could lead to legal consequences and destroy the faith of tens of thousands of followers. Former Diddy associates have said celebrities are terrified right now. They attended parties where drugs were flowing, where behavior got out of hand, where things happened they never wanted public. They thought they were in private. They didn't know someone was watching, recording, cataloging every moment. One source put it bluntly: someone got caught stealing a cookie out of the cookie jar. And it could be your favorite pastor, your favorite politician, your favorite entertainer. The feds have the tapes now, and when they come knocking, when they show people what they've got, those same celebrities who stayed silent will start talking. And they won't be talking in Diddy's favor. The silence from Diddy's celebrity network is deafening. Despite having one of the most extensive rosters of friends and collaborators in entertainment history, almost no one has publicly defended him. That's not loyalty. That's fear. Fear of what's on those tapes. Fear of being implicated. Fear of being the next name dragged into court. And if the blackmail theory is true, it means Diddy didn't just commit crimes. He built an entire system to ensure no one could ever hold him accountable. Until now. Diddy remains in federal custody facing multiple charges including sex trafficking, racketeering, and abuse. His legal team calls the investigation a witch hunt, but the evidence keeps piling up. More victims are coming forward, more testimonies are being collected, and the federal case is expanding. T.D. Jakes, meanwhile, has remained almost entirely silent. He's denied wrongdoing, filed a defamation lawsuit against Dwayne Youngblood, but hasn't addressed the Diddy connection or the party allegations. His congregation at the Potter's house is reportedly in turmoil. Some are standing by their pastor, believing he's being unfairly attacked. Others are questioning everything they thought they knew about the man they trusted with their spiritual lives. One former associate said it perfectly. People put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And when that pastor's image crumbles, it doesn't just hurt him. It shatters the faith of everyone who believed in him. The cultural conversation has shifted too. This isn't just about one mogul's crimes or one bishop's alleged misconduct. It's about systems of power that allowed this behavior to continue unchecked for decades. It's about how fame, money, and influence can create environments where abuse thrives in secrecy. It's about the hidden camera culture of blackmail and control that allegedly exists in elite circles. As federal prosecutors continue building their case, more details will emerge. More victims may come forward, more footage may be released, and the question of whether T.D. Jakes was complicit, manipulated, or simply caught in the fallout of a powerful network will become clearer. Right now, it remains uncertain. But one thing is certain. The age of unchecked celebrity power is facing its reckoning. Whether T.D. Jakes was a willing participant, a naive associate, or someone who got blackmailed into silence may never be fully known. The evidence is complicated, the testimonies conflict, and the truth probably lies somewhere messy and uncomfortable. But the larger story here is undeniable. For decades, powerful men operated with impunity, using money, influence, and alleged blackmail to keep their secrets buried. Victims stayed silent out of fear, shame, or the belief that no one would believe them. Now, thanks to brave individuals coming forward, federal investigations, and people like 50 Cent who refuse to let it go, that era is ending. The tapes are being examined, the patterns are being exposed, and accountability is coming. The Diddy T.D. Jakes scandal isn't just a celebrity gossip story. It's a window into how power corrupts, how systems protect abusers, and how long it takes for justice to finally catch up. What do you think? Was T.D. Jakes a victim of Diddy's alleged blackmail scheme? Or was he an active participant in a world he knew was wrong? The evidence keeps mounting, witnesses keep talking, and as those 250 tapes get analyzed, the truth might be more complicated and more disturbing than anyone imagined. One thing's for sure, when this all finally goes to trial, the fallout will be historic.